Right.
So you can take your time. It's fine.
David, for anyone out there that doesn't know, David's the founder and chief growth officer.
Yeah, one of the founders and CGO of C3. Yeah.
So 100 plus specialists. Is that correct? Huge.
It is. Yeah, I think the number's around. So we're about 6 years old. We started in October 2019, just before the pandemic. Great time to start a business. And we're about 140, I believe now.
Wow.
Give or take that number. I mean, obviously we have people working notices to join us and things at the moment, so it's around that figure.
So covering paid, organic, PR,
Yeah,
everything.
Yeah, exactly. So digital performance, really. So we do everything from digital PR, SEO, CRO, paid media, paid social, creative content, social media. And we also acquired another agency as well in November of last year that sits separately, called Powerhouse, who are a production studio. So they're based at the other side of Leeds, and they do everything from product shots to TV ads and all that jazz.
You've come up with the pub test, which I quite like,
Oh, yeah,
but
the
not
pub
today.
Yeah.
Anyone else know what the pub test is? No? Can you explain what the pub test is,
Yeah,
please?
I can't. I don't know if I came up with it, but the pub test. So my background is really in comms and digital PR, which has been a huge part of the growth of C3. And it was all stemmed from the pub test, which started around the pub table. But ultimately, it is, if something will get picked up around a pub table, like a conversation, a story, then it's likely to be picked up outside of that, if that's across social, if that's across editorial or whatever. I think it's less about, from a comms perspective, forcing stories, forcing people to talk about stories, and actually just jumping on things that people would naturally talk about and share, as long as it's obviously relevant.
Is it essentially keeping it simple?
Yeah.
With a pint?
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
All best ideas start there.
Sounds good. I want to know about the journey, because it's a bit bonkers really to get to that level within quite a short amount of time. But let's just go back to a summary. If you can give me a whistle-stop tour of your early career.
Of my early career,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. So I'll be as fast as I can because it is quite confusing. There was a company called Branded Free, which was an SEO agency, and I was at uni and I applied to join them, and I actually lied during my entire interview. Honestly, I had no idea what SEO was. I had no idea what I was doing, and somehow I got through the door of this agency in 2012, and
Where everyone else does.
yeah, I mean, I can say it now because, I mean, it was about then, but I joined a company called Branded Free, essentially, and I was working on some technical SEO bits for them, and digital PR and all that kind of stuff never existed. And I saw the opportunity in digital PR, so I asked and kind of pushed the agency to invest in it, and they did. They backed me, and that became a huge part, about 50% of their business. And the founders then went off to sell the business. And obviously at that point, I was running this big team within this business. The two founders had gone off into the sunset with their millions of pounds to play golf. And I then worked for a company called Edit, because it merged into a company called Edit. And then anyway, one day during that, I was invited for a meal with my now CEO, Tim Grice. And I was actually ambushed in a pub in Wetherby by my now two investors and my other founders. I didn't know I was meeting them. And essentially what they'd done is everyone who'd helped them build the agency that they sold, they wanted to back and do this performance marketing agency, Connected Free. So I said, yeah. I didn't agree. I remember going home and telling my wife, I said, yeah, I've quit my job, or I'm quitting my job. And we just bought a house. I didn't even have a salary. I didn't even agree share options. I didn't have anything. It was a fucking stupid move. And it worked, thank Christ. It had to work, you know what I mean? Let's be honest. So we started Connected Free in 2019. It was October, just before the pandemic. And we had this idea of creating a performance marketing agency that essentially connected the different specialisms together. And we find ourselves here today.
But to scale that quickly as well,
Yeah.
what was, was there an inflection point particularly to where it compounded suddenly? You went from 20 to 50? Or?
Well, actually, when we started, we drummed up a lot of interest, particularly the myself and another founder called JJ, because we had clients that kind of wanted to follow us. I mean, there was people that invested into us really, rather than into Branded Free at the time or Edit at the time. So when we started, we kind of knew we'd already have some form of revenue. And then obviously the pandemic rolled out, and it was tough. I think at that point during the pandemic, we were about 7 people big, or something along those lines. It wasn't a massive operation. And what we did during the pandemic, we had two options really. Was either crab ourselves and panic, or just double down on every bit of marketing we could think of. And that's exactly what we did. I mean, I literally worked every day for 18 months. I was out on LinkedIn. I was filming myself in the fucking garden. I was filming myself on dog walks. I was doing anything just to get in front of people, and so was everybody else in the business.
Fake
And
podcast?
well, I didn't go as far as a fake podcast, but I'm going to write that idea down.
Me too.
And then anyway, that when the doors slightly started opening from the pandemic, it was at that point we'd put ourselves in such a position that we saw a huge surge of new business inquiries, and then we then fell into the trouble. We couldn't hire fast enough, and that's when it all really kicked off.
Do you think that the differentiator for you I mean, if anyone else out there doesn't agree with this, is like it's saturated as our offering in terms of agencies. But what's your, what really the differentiator for you to stand out? What is it? What was it? What is it now?
I would say that, I mean, ultimately, if you look on pen and paper about what we deliver compared to another agency, I don't think there's too much difference. It genuinely is our results and the people we've managed to bring on board. Now, obviously, over time, we've managed to build internal tools and internal kind of different IPs that we can show clients, which gives them a unique perspective on data and allows them to see new opportunities. But I think actually, honestly, I'm not saying it, like the entire business from the top down are just so hands-on, so kind of unbelievably performance driven. Like even from Tim, who's the CEO and the major shareholder, right down to a PR exec. I mean, he is in the trenches every single day, and that's all we've done. Like we've never kind of sat back and delegated. We're literally there every day. And I think the differentiator is that you just get people who want to win, like really want to win. And we're extremely strict, like seriously strict with our hiring policies because of that. And we have been since day one. Like we will only bring people on who actually really want to kind of like treat the businesses as their own.
I guess you can pick up anyone that's trying to blag their CV through, like.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's the irony isn't lost on me. Yeah, I know. The irony isn't lost on me that I had to blag it in. But I mean, it showed how much I wanted it, right? So, I mean, there's kind of something there.
Exactly. Fake it until you make it.
Exactly.
Leads me on to kind of the culture at that size now. Just give me a snapshot of how you're fostering that at that level. For some of us mere mortals that have got a small team. How do you do it at that level?
Yeah, you have to invest in culture. So there's Andy, who's in the audience today, actually, who's our CEO. He's very much involved in this, and we've actually just hired a head of people or culture, which starts on Monday. Essentially, it is difficult. It is difficult because obviously you don't get as much face time with everybody because there's 140 of you. You're across multiple offices. We're traveling a lot, and we're not just traveling in the UK either. We do a lot of international travel, so I mean we're out the door a lot. So it is very difficult, but I think we've invested heavily. We continuously get feedback from the staff, so there's like a staff survey out now, and we kind of always listen to people. We always kind of have our doors open. We always offer kind of, and I think what we also do is we check in, like even if we're in I don't know, if we're in the States, we'll still check in, we'll drop someone a Teams message, right from the highest point of the business right down. We'll do kind of just making sure that we're getting as much kind of comms with them as possible. And it is difficult, obviously it is difficult, it is challenges, and you do get HR challenges, you do get all that kind of stuff, but actually you just need to invest in, it's not about really the fluffy stuff. Like we give the fluffy stuff, your coffee machines, your free beers, your Prosecco taps, we have that, we're an agency, ping pong tables. People expect that kind of stuff, but actually the difference and the reason we've managed to maintain culture, I think, is because actually what we offer here is an opportunity to really propel your career. And genuinely, and I say this as a shareholder and I say this as a founder, right, the greatest thing for me, and I'm not just saying it, is I was given an opportunity ages ago to take my life, and now I've managed to build this thing from it, and to be able to give that to other people is really good. So people, I think, in our business see their opportunity personally. They know that they can carve out their own opportunities. They know that there are progression plans in place for them, but actually they know that if we win together, and we're not afraid to back somebody. And like, there's a girl called Lily Windle who's on maternity leave at the moment. I always refer to her because when she joined during the pandemic, I brought her on because I needed her to essentially manage 2 people. And now she's running a multi-million pound team. I mean, there's about 40 people underneath her. She gets to travel the world. She's gone off. She's done all this stuff. And the reason she's got to that level is because she won alongside us, and she built out her own opportunities. And I think that's what really drives people in the business, and that's what keeps the culture going.
Winning together is a good
just
one.
winning together.
Yeah.
I mean, you can give as well, like I say, you can give as much free beer and Prosecco and coffee and whatever you want. People want to be looked after, and people want to see an opportunity for them. And if you can offer that, But opportunity only comes through growth as well. So you've got to be honest, you've got to be transparent, and you've got to go on that journey with them.
So just on the subject of winning, so winning clients, retaining them, have you got a playbook for that? Obviously, you've got the likes of Ocado as a client, Avon, etc., and many others.
Do we have a playbook? No, honestly, there's not like a one thing, is there? There's not like one thing that we do that wins clients. That's not how it works. Essentially, obviously, we have our own network. I mean, that's a given. We're extremely lucky that we're very performance driven. So actually, a lot of our work comes from cross sell. So clients that are currently with us wanting to do more with us, and our retention is extremely high, certainly for an agency level. And again, we've never taken our, when you think about growth from an agency perspective, you have to see retention equally as important as winning new clients, because there's no point filling the bucket up if the bucket's got a hole in it. It's completely true. So we look after the clients that we've got. We really work to deliver for them, and obviously that leads into new business generally from cross-sell. And then outside of that, we do have obviously a marketing team. We do a lot of events. We do a lot of networking, a lot of dinners. We're traveling. We're on LinkedIn. There's so many different touch points. It's really hard to kind of put it into one.
And measure it as well. It's hard to measure it.
It is really difficult to measure it. So the way that we measure it at the moment is we do actually have a sales team, an outbound team, what we call outbound. It's a very small kind of setup, and they're doing very well. So we can track that fairly easy. So if they've engaged somebody, sent somebody some insights, and then brought them to an event or whatever, that one's very easy. But the rest of it is extremely difficult to kind of pinpoint exactly the moment they decided to choose you, because a lot of the times when you have a brand like, for example, one of our clients is Compare the Market. So they knew me on LinkedIn. Then they were at a conference, and I was talking to that conference. Then they bumped into our head of marketing. It's not one size fits all. But ultimately, all you've got to do is just try and be front of mind at all times. That's it.
It comes back to connecting,
Yeah.
winning together.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, you just explained a winning formula to win together to get
Yeah.
a client.
Yeah.
The international side of it is obviously very exciting.
Yeah.
How's that going? And
It's good. Yeah.
Is it?
So the international stuff, we have grown really rapidly internationally. We did and we do work in the States a lot. Now, realistically, the States is an interesting one because it's extremely expensive to open over there. A lot of brands will only work with you if you have feet on the ground over there. So although we work in the States a lot, actually what we're seeing at the moment is clients wanting to work with us in Europe, and particularly within France and Germany. So what we did is we were really fortunate in the sense that we had some clients come to us saying, look, because of the trust we built with them previously, would we build a team to help them go into their markets? And we obviously use that as a stepping stone to cross-sell. So at the moment, international is absolutely booming, really, particularly on the continent. But we do work across the US as well. And even weirdly, in Australia, I've got to fly there for 4 days in a couple of days' time. But it is actually, honestly, I get it sounds good, like I'm off to Australia, fucking hell, yes. It's actually shite, honestly it is, because I've got to fly there, I've got 2 days there, then I've got to fly back, and then I've got to look after my kid, because my wife's saying, obviously, he's yours, so I'm going to be fully jet lagged, and I'm going to have an 18-month-old screaming at me. But
Good luck.
yeah, the international stuff's growing really well, but it's growing really well, I think, because actually a lot of people, particularly within Europe, are looking at the UK. It's quite a mature market from a digital perspective. I've worked heavily in Germany and France, and even the States, actually, but particularly in Germany and France. And actually what we're doing here is like almost, what they're doing over there really is probably what we were doing 2-3 years ago, and that's just the way it is. I'm not sure why that is, by the way. I don't have an answer to that. But as soon as we saw that, we knew there was an opportunity, and that's kind of when we took it. So it is working really well, just because I think we're a more mature digital market.